What is up, everybody? RandomRandomMan here, bringing you my review for the Divergent series, Allegiant. Now, the plot is, of course, based on the novel of the same name, and basically follows Tris Pryor, played by Shailene Woodley, who, after discovering why factions existed in a dystopian Chicago to divide up society, her and a group of individuals scale the wall surrounding this isolated city to find out what lies ahead in the distant unknown. At least it seems that way initially, as she discovers a utopian society led by a charismatic leader played by Jeff Daniels, who has a plan to fix society as a whole and needs Triss's help because she is pure and the other people that she's with are considered damaged. Now, I love Shailene Woodley. She is one of my absolute favorite young actresses working in Hollywood today. And within the Divergent series, I always considered her the best actor within the entire series because she always commanded the screen with a very nice presence. And in this film, she mostly does a substantially good job, but she is regulated to a much smaller role compared to her leading lady presence that she had in the previous two movies, which I felt was disappointing because she did a lot in the previous two movies to keep me interested in what else was going to happen. That being said, her love interest 4, played by Theo James, gets a lot more to do. And I mostly haven't liked James that much because I felt he had uninteresting chemistry with Woodley's character throughout the entire series. But he gets a lot more to do, but the movie's writing didn't necessarily translate to how these characters are supposed to be more commanding and a lot more intriguing. In fact, the rest of the cast really are wasted in what they're potentially supposed to do. Some of the returning players include Ansel Elgort and Zoe Kravitz. They really don't get to do much. Miles Teller is really playing the same role he's always played in this series. Octavia Spencer and Naomi Watts also return, and there is a shoehorn subplot with them being divided. Jeff Daniels is one of the new additions to the cast, and you see his mantra and his motives coming. Plot-wise, this movie really doesn't do much to advance the series and where it needs to necessarily go. I haven't read the books, so this may be a problem with that, but in terms of a film series, it doesn't advance the story to where it needs to be, since this technically is part 1 of the finale, where the third book in the series is split up into 2 parts, although it doesn't say that in the title. Now, the first Divergent I liked quite a bit, and the second one I liked less so, mainly because of how repetitive it got throughout and how the ending could have felt like the ending to the entire franchise, but I forgot there's 2 more movies to happen here. And what main problem does the movie have in its story? It does the same thing the series has always been doing. It feels like the 2 sequels that we've already gotten feel like retreads or repeats, just with different things that happen in between. This doesn't mean that I was bored by this movie entirely. On the contrary, compared to other part 1s in the finales of film series that are based on books, this is actually more entertaining than even the likes of Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 and The Hunger Games Mockingjay Part 1, because a lot more happens in this movie than either one of those films, stylistically and just in terms of action. The movie actually looks pretty nice. Some action sequences I was entertained by, such as the wall scaling sequence, but at the cost of being more engaging, it shows in the writing once again. The movie outright confused me at times, and it didn't feel like some of the means were justified. The unfortunate thing is that everything that happens with the film isn't fully materialized by the end. The ending to this movie didn't feel fully conclusive because it just comes out of nowhere, and it didn't seem like we got a proper ending. And I know this is part 1 of the finale, but the Deathly Hallows and Mockingjay felt like they had endings in their own respective franchises, unlike this film. It just feels like the passion for this series has been gone with this latest installment, and that is not a welcome thing to see, as each franchise is supposed to carry a new entry with more stakes and upping the ante throughout, and that is just not applicable here. As you can see within the acting, the writing, and the flow of this franchise, as a steep decline is showing with Allegiant. I don't hate this movie. I don't heavily dislike it, just like the critics have been doing with this film. In fact, it has a staggering 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, and that is not very sound in my opinion. I think it's a little bit too out of line, but I do agree with what many critics are saying with this film mostly feeling mundane and tedious throughout. There were some entertaining aspects, but I feel that the franchise at this point has gone into forgettable territory. Fans of the series will enjoy this, and I guess they'll get a kick out of seeing their franchise continue to be adapted with this series. But I just don't feel like the series has enough steam at this point to continue on to make for a satisfying finale with the next film in 2017. My final verdict for the Divergent series, Allegiant, is 2 out of 5 stars. Thank you all, as always, for watching. Be sure to like this video, comment on what you thought of the Divergent series, Allegiant, subscribe to my channel for more, and I'll catch you on the next movie review.